Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. First thing I want to do is just say thank you to the channel members. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to anyone who comes in and subscribes to the channel and watches the content. Thank you. And thank you to anyone who just comes in, checks out my knife, my ADC content. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for being here. So today I am going to take a look at something I haven't looked at in a while, but my top 10 slip joints. I carry a slip joint with me pretty much every day. Today I'm carrying one that is, I always carry them in a slip. I don't store them in a slip, but this is the Queen Anne Anuya. Fantastic knife, very sharp spine, nice spear point, definitely one of my favorites. M390 blade, thicker grind, titanium bolsters, Micarta handle. That's Queen Anne's Revenge, and I keep it in a slip as I do these. These aren't in a slip now because we're just showing them to you guys. So the first one's a modern slip joint from MKM, Maniago Knife Makers, over in Italy. It is the Root, and the Root is unique in that it is an M390 blade, very thin blade grind. It doesn't have your traditional finger pull. What it has is it has these 3 holes in the blade, which just allow you to grab it, but it's got a very aggressive walk and talk, probably a 4, 5, maybe. Fits my hand perfectly. Just to give you a couple of ideas, that's a Sharpie, and this measures in right at 6.5 inches. Excuse me. But it's got a nice walk and talk, aluminum construction, again with an M390 blade that's very thin, very slicey. I love these thin bladed slip joints. They don't cut necessarily because I haven't put them through their paces on the stones. These are all factory edges, but just a really nice Gens Anzo design made by Maniago Knife Makers, MKM, and it's called the Root. And it's one of my top 10 slip joints by a mile. I love this knife. Coming in next is kind of a surprise. This is a knife that I started out with the Qvist variant, the locking version. This is the Qvist Vanish. This is a slip joint version, a smaller little knife with titanium handles, a 20 CV hollow ground blade, a smaller little knife, but for a fixed blade, or excuse me, for a slip joint, just an absolutely dynamite size. Super slicey. Again, these knives, I don't worry about them being non-locking knives because they're not hard use knives. I'm usually carrying them in my left pocket. Use them to cut packages, fruit, sandwiches, things like that. This guy comes in, if we take our Sharpie out, it's going to be right around the same size as the Sharpie. And that translates into an overall of roughly 5 1/8. 2-inch blade, 2-inch cutting length area, and 3-inch blade. Very, very stiff, but nice walk and talk. And then you've got this blade hole, very easy to get access to. But I'd say you've probably got a 5 all the way around on this. But a small little knife, I've got a nice little slip for it. Fits in the pocket very well. Very easy to open. Great for opening packaging. Good for opening food. Great for opening, things with plastic, those little death clams around them. But this is the Qvist Vanish, and that's in titanium and 20 CV. Moving on, we come to a knife that I wouldn't have been able to obtain, but I was able to trade for it with my buddy Pocket Metal. And this is the second knife that Three Rivers Manufacturing ever produced. And this is their TRM, Three Rivers Manufacturing, Atlas. The Atlas is a true slip joint, even though it has titanium liners. If you look right here, it pushes the spring, or in this case 2 springs up, and your half stop's right there, a little bit past 90 degrees, and then it snaps shut. I'd say you've got probably a 3-4, maybe a 4, 3-4, maybe a 4. But it's a small knife, again, with its ergonomics done the TRM way. So smaller knife, but you've got your additional little finger rest area here. Nice 4-finger grip for me. If you had a larger hand, it might be a 3-finger knife. The blade is 20 CV. Cuts like a laser beam. Very light knife because you've got titanium construction with micarta handles. Pocket clip. Take that off if you want to keep it a slip. I've got a slip that it actually goes in. The pocket clips onto the slip. But this is the TRM Atlas, a knife I didn't think I'd ever be able to own because, again, it's out of production. But it's just a great entry into what's become probably my favorite knife maker and my favorite knives that are USA made, my TRM collection. But this is a great little knife. The TRM Atlas, it's definitely in the top 10. Moving on, we come to a gorgeous little knife. This is a knife that is small. It is sharp. It's hollow ground. S90V blade. Glow carbon fiber handle. Absolutely stunning. The ergonomics on this little knife are to die for. You've got this forward finger choil that is great. You've got a walk and talk that's probably somewhere around a 6, maybe a 6, steady 6. It's not going to come open on you. It's not going to close on you. Again, because your finger gets engaged into this choil here. And I mean, this little guy is a thin-bladed slicer. Whether you're prepping food, whether you're cutting into packages, whether you're cutting paper, whatever the case may be. It's a beautiful little knife. You've got a black titanium bolster, S90V blade, and then you've got this glow carbon fiber. If we weren't under lights, I would charge it up for you and show it to you because it is that cool. But it's a great little knife. The Nip Slip by Divo Knives. It is a winner, and it is in the top 10. As we move along, we come to a knife that I had when it was just an old QSP Hedgehog. It wasn't anything super special, and that's before Austin and Traditional Pocket Knives got a hold of it and did an exclusive with fat carbon. I've actually got a couple of sets of scales for this. I've got the raspberry, and I've got these red, white, and blue. This got titanium bolsters, M390 blade, hollow ground, perfectly balanced. When this thing is at half stop, you've got perfect 90 degrees, springs totally parallel, closes up, perfectly flush. You've got a lanyard hole here at the back. You've got this long nail pull that I just use my fingers. And then you've got this tall hollow ground blade that is just a cleaver. A cleaver meets a razor. I mean, it's just that sharp. Fantastic knife. One of my favorites. I get a full 4-finger grip on this. I think you would too. It is a knife that, and I didn't do my size comparison for my Atlas or my Nip Slip, so we'll knock out 3 birds with 1 stone, and I won't get behind again. I apologize. So the Sharpie is going to be about the same size as the Nip Slip. Going to be about a 1/16 or an 1/8 inch shorter than the Atlas, or about an inch shorter than the QSP Traditional Pocket Knives. It's their collaboration, which is the Hedgehog. And the Hedgehog comes in at 6.5 inches with right under a 3-inch blade. The Atlas comes in at 5.5 inches with a 2 1/8 inch blade. And the Nip Slip comes in at 5.5 inches with a 2 1/4 inch blade. So, great knives. Any one of these 10, I don't know which ones are going to still be available. I'll leave links, or which ones you'll have to look on the secondary. And there are other great slip joints. These just happen to be what I consider my top 10. And they're just because they personally make me enjoy cutting with them, enjoy carrying them. Continuing on, we come to the first GEC Great Eastern Cutlery American-made knife that I got. The Yellow Rose pattern. I think this is an 86. I could be wrong. 862123. Single blade, carbon steel, nice spear point, beautiful swedge here. Got a nice bolster and a nice choil. These knives are made the old timey way with old machinery, pinned together, dyed bone. Not as thin, but still very slicey. Great for cutting fruit, cutting food. Just a great little knife. An absolute stunner. Probably one of my favorites. I've actually got 2 GECs. You'll see another one in a second. They're just done the real traditional way. You know, old school machinery. They patina out. This knife's getting some age on it. It gets carried. I love it. It's a fantastic knife. And this is my first GEC that I acquired. And it is, again, what do we say, the 86. 862123. And I want to say that's a Northfield Unit X. Yeah. Yellow Rose pattern. So that's a great little knife. Moving on, we come to an Italian-made knife. I've actually got a couple of these, but this is probably my favorite pattern. This is a Viper Knives, very modern, traditional, called the Twin. And this is a nice drop point blade, clip point blade, a little bit of harpoon here. You've got this nice olive drab micarta. You've got bolsters on both sides, or titanium frame on both sides. You've got this crown spring, back spring that's not flush. It's got a nice little crown to it. Crown spine on the top of this blade. And then you've got this swedge. Very, very sharp. M390 blade. Don't know who the designer is on this. I don't remember. I can see the name there. But it's a great cutter. A great size knife. It's going to come in. Let's see. And I promised y'all I wouldn't do it, and I sure enough didn't put this up next to the GEC. So the Sharpie is going to be smaller than both of these guys. They're both about the same size. The Viper is going to come in at right under 7 inches. The GEC is going to come in right under 7 inches too. Both have, looks like about a 3-inch blade. 3 1/16 roughly. Modern traditional and an actual true traditional. Great knives. And we move on to probably one of the most unique in the bunch and one of my favorites. We're getting up there. This is the Maxace Beetle-S. This is a full-size knife. This is one of the bigger slip joints in my collection. We haven't even opened it yet, but it's also got the thinnest blade stock of any slip joint in my collection. So you've got carbon fiber, this teardrop carbon fiber, nice bolster, and then you've got this ratchety blade that does have a half stop. It does have a closed, but it has all these little clicks in between it. And then you've got this beautifully ground M390 blade that is so thin. .0750 blade stock. That's the spine. Super thin. I mean, you don't even have to sharpen this knife. I've been cutting with it, but it still just moves through material like nobody's business because there's so little blade there. It's just so slicey. Has fantastic ergonomics, fits my hand like a dream. This ratcheted half-stop system or multi-stop system is very safe. It's not accidentally going to close on your hand because you've got all these stops in between. So even if you let it slip out, it's not going to go to half-stop, is my point. But a beautiful knife, full size. For example, just to give you a size comparison with a Benchmade bug out, about the same size as a Benchmade bug out, which is going to translate into right under 7.5 inches with about a 3 1/4 inch blade. And this is the Maxace Beetle-S. I'll leave you a link to some of the new Beetle-S's. I think they have them in different colorways, but they are available if I'm not mistaken. Moving on, we're 2 away, and this is the second to the, this is number 2, really, if we were looking at them with any kind of contest, but we're really not because they're all fantastic knives. This is my Wolf Feelgood Jack. I love this little knife. I love the raspberry handle or the pink handle. You've got these dark bolsters, perfectly level spine and back spring, S90V blade, hollow ground with a very, very pokey, stappy point. Great walk and talk. And an absolute slicer. Whether you're doing detail cuts, whether you're cutting things out, this little knife stays in my pocket probably as much as any of my slippies just because it's so freaking utilitarian useful. It's thin, doesn't take up a lot of space. It is a full-size slip joint, so it's going to be longer than our Sharpie there. And it's going to come in right under 7 inches, right over 6 3/4 with a 3-inch blade. Beautiful, beautiful Wharncliffe blade. Nice long finger pull. Again, deep hollow grind. Great walk and talk. Wolf. I'm a huge fan. Love them or hate them. I love some of the designs. I have 2 of them, and I'll probably have them forever. Great knives. Moving on, we come to probably my most prized possession and my favorite GEC, which is this particular GEC here. I don't know the exact name of it. The blade says Practical Knives. It is a model number Cyclops Steelworks, Cyclops Steelworks 861121. So beautiful clip point design, nice red and black micarta, beautiful bolster with your shield kind of engraved into your bolster there. Again, traditional knife made in the USA like traditional knives were made. Pinned together construction, beautiful. It's patina in. This one's stainless, where the Northwoods was carbon steel, but just an absolutely gorgeous knife. So guys, those are my top 10 slip joints. They do range all over the board in pricing, but they're all just fantastic knives to me. And I've got a bunch of others that are still great knives, because slip joints for me are just great knives to have in my pocket to pull out if I don't want to draw attention to myself, or I don't want to do anything that appears scary, and use a knife, you know, maybe in front of a group of people that aren't used to knives. Slip joints, a good thing to have, let somebody use if they need to cut something. But these are all just winners in my opinion. You got the GEC, you've got the Wolf, Maxace, GEC, Viper knives, DVO Nip Slip, TRM Atlas, QSP Traditional Pocket Knives Exclusive Hedgehog, Qvist Vanish, and lastly, the Maniago Knife Makers MKM Root. Awesome knives, kind of run all the spectrum and design styles, but they're all non-locking manual knives. I love them all. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it informative, entertaining, somehow worth your while. I'm glad you're here. If you're so inclined, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit that subscribe button. It does help me out. Most importantly, though, look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your hearts and choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.